guys, and welcome to today's video. So I am going to be doing the Pantone challenge. I've bought this huge box of 1,000 postcards, which I'm going to paint on them with some posca markers. I'll probably end up doing a couple of videos like this just because I think it'd be really fun to do a bunch of different colours from this box. I'm not sure if I'll get through the whole box, but you know, maybe I will one day. But it's just a fun little challenge, and you can play around with some cool colours and experiment with some posca markers. And I think it's just nice to take a break from doing my studio vlog kind of work and just get some drawing done. So let's go and get into the video. 1,000 postcards is a lot for me to get through, so I don't think I'll be able to finish the entire box. We'll have to see, but you know, I think this is going to take me about 10 years to do this many. But I chose out my colours. I chose out this red Fiesta colour, and then I also went for this blue Pantone 635 and this purple, which is called Striking Purple. I'm not entirely sure why some of the colours have names and some of the codes are different. I will have to check on that for the next video, but that's just how they are. So I'm going to be using posca markers for these paintings. I might do some gouache ones in the future, but at the moment I'm just sticking to posca markers just because I think they're really bold, and I love the bright colours and the contrast you get with the Pantone postcards. So for the first illustration, I'm drawing this little duck with an inflatable frog ring around him. I was really happy with how this one turned out, especially since it was the first one, though I did notice that some of the paint cracked a little bit, but I think that's just because I ended up applying a little bit too much paint to the surface, as the postcards are kind of shiny. But I learned from this and I didn't make the same mistake with any of the other colours or any of the other postcards, so that is something to keep in mind if you do this. I also spilled a little bit of green on the inflatable ring, but that's fine. I was going to paint over that anyway, so you can't really see that mistake. And I really do like how the colours looked on this Pantone postcard. The blue, I guess as it was so light, really worked well because I didn't really need to put that many layers on. The only problem I did have is with the orange. I wasn't quite happy with it, but after a couple of layers of paint, the colours really popped and it looked so much better. But you can see on the beak it did look a little bit muddy at first, but putting on multiple layers did help fix that. This blue posca marker is definitely one of my favourite posca markers to do an outline with. So, you know, because I already had the blue background, I thought the dark blue would look really good with it, and I'm so happy that I did go for it. When outlining something, I usually try and keep the outline to be like the same size throughout the illustration, but for this duck, I actually made it a little bit thicker at certain points, and I really like how that turned out. And it's definitely something I want to play again with in the future, just because, you know, it's really nice to create different variations of lines and create kind of like shadows and depth with it. So I am hoping to sell these postcards in the future as postcard original paintings. I'm not entirely sure if I have them on my shop. I might just take them with me to markets and things. I am just ending up with stacks and stacks of finished art that's like loose and not stuck in a sketchbook, and I don't really know what to do with it. So maybe with the less detailed and easier pieces like this duck, it might be fun to see if I can sell it, and if anybody would be interested in it, just because it's a really sweet piece and I'm just going to kind of just throw it in a drawer and not touch it, so it might as well go to somebody who was going to put it up on the wall or something like that. Please let me know if you're interested in buying them. I'm not 100% sure if anyone would be, but it's something I might look into doing and giving it a go. I'm not entirely sure if I like that I added this little bit of shadow under him. I don't know if it really adds anything, but it's there. And then I drew the 3 little flowers as well, just to fill in the blank space. So this one really ended up surprising me. I wasn't so sure on it because the red colour is really, really bright, and the illustration I decided to do on it was a vase with some flowers on it. And it's not really something I would normally draw, but I am really happy with how it came out. Normally I'm pretty good at picking out colours I want to use for a piece, but I was a little bit stuck on this, usually just because I normally work on paler backgrounds if I do draw on a coloured background. So this bright red colour was so different for me. I don't think I've ever drawn a colour this bright before, but I really do think it worked. The green really contrasts and really stands out against the red background, and then the light pink and orange and cream just, you know, bring it all together and kind of calm the rest of the colours. And you know, the whole thing kind of looks kind of abstract, I'd say. It's not particularly one of my normal styles. I normally draw things that are a little bit more cutesy, but I did make sure to include some pink in there. So I actually ended up using black to draw the middle of the flowers on and for the outline. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, I do try to avoid using black a lot, just because I feel like you can make black with other colours, and it's nicer to have a dark blue or a dark purple for an outline or for shadow rather than black, just because it doesn't really give as much as other colours can. But for this piece I did end up using black, and I'm so happy I took the risk, and I did, because I think it looks really, really good with it, and it just makes everything stand out that little bit more. I was a little bit concerned about going around the leaves and the stems especially, so I kind of went a little bit more sketchy with them, and I didn't do a full black line, but I think that did work well, and it helps make the flowers stand out, which is the main focus of this illustration. There are so many dark reds and other dark colours that I usually wouldn't draw on, so stay tuned to see how I tackle them in the future, and hopefully they'll be as good as this one came out. I did end up adding a little bit of shading to the vase just with some dots, which I think made it look a bit more pop arty. So now we're on to the final illustration of this cat and dog sitting on top of each other. I found it really difficult to pick a postcard for this illustration. I always knew that I wanted there to be oranges and yellows in the illustration, but I wasn't sure what colour to do for the background. Usually I'd probably go with green for purple, but I think the yellow and orange works really well on it too, and it makes the little animals stand out. And to kind of tie it in all together, I ended up adding pink into it, into the collars and into the ears and the noses, and I think that worked really well. Though I did find, because the purple is very, very dark and then the orange and yellow are quite light, I did have to do quite a few coats of paint to make it solid, and that did take a while because for some reason Posca markers seem to take forever to dry on this material. Usually it is much faster on paper, but again, because of the glossy texture to it, it just takes that bit longer because it just doesn't sink into the paper right away. So this one did take me the longest, but mostly because I was waiting around forever for each layer to finish drying. So here I am adding in the bit of pink I talked about. I was originally going to give them two different coloured collars, but I decided actually let's just keep it simple, and let's restrict how many colours we use, and just went with the pink for all of it. So in the end I actually only used 4 colours, the pink, the orange and the yellow, and then my trusty dark blue smaller Posca marker, which I mentioned earlier. Actually, I did technically use 5 colours because I went in and used an orange Posca marker for the eyebrows and the tag on the dog's collar, just because the orange didn't really show up as well. But you know, it was such a small amount, let's just say that doesn't count. And it is still a shade of orange, so it fits in there. I also played around with the thickness of the lines for this piece too, probably not quite as much as I did with the duck, but I did still do it. I did use the blue again for the outline, but I don't have many of these thin Posca marker pens. I've probably got this dark blue, the black, and a dark green, and then an orange, which doesn't really work for most outlines. So I do think I need to go and get some more thin Posca markers for the details. But for now, I'm kind of happy with sticking with the colours I have. I don't have the full collection of Posca markers, and I've just been collecting maybe 2 or 3 every single Christmas and birthday. So I've slowly been building it up, but it's still not a huge collection. Though we are getting there. I did realise while doing this piece that I have absolutely no red Posca markers whatsoever, but I have about 3 or 4 different colours of pink, but no red. So I definitely want to get some red Posca markers next. So here are the finished pieces: the duck with the inflatable frog ring on the blue background, then the vase on the red background, Pantone 171564, that's a very long one, and then last but not least, the cat on the dog on the Pantone striking purple 183025. I don't really know how to say the numbers, but I'm saying it like that. And here they are all together. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know which colours I should paint on next time, and maybe I'll just do it. So if you did enjoy this video, please give it a massive thumbs up to let me know that you'd love to see more content like this in the future. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be the first to be notified for when I next upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!